As we read Luke's Passion, I want you to think about his mission statement. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor, proclaim liberty and freedom to prisoners, and recovery of sight to the blind, and to set the captives and those who are oppressed free. Now, as you look at Luke's Passion narrative, I want you to think about 6 things. At the Last Supper, Jesus refers to 2 cups. The first involves the Passover meal. It's looking back into the story of Jesus's human coming to an end. The second cup, he's setting up the church for the future. The cup that you and I share Sunday after Sunday when we gather to share the real presence of Christ in his own body and in his own blood. The second point in this narrative is about the disciples. They're arguing over who's going to be the first, but he offers them authority that's based on service and not upon their readiness. How many times for us do we think, am I really ready? And yet Jesus still calls us. The third thing, Luke is the one who tells of the healing the guard's severed ear when he was in the garden before he was arrested. Right in the midst of this tension and this violence that's taking place in his being arrested, he offers this pure act of nonviolence. Again, an example for you and for me, how we're to live our lives. The fourth, Luke has a special moment that's recorded that's not in the other Gospels. During that denial scene with Peter in the courtyard, when the rooster crows and it signals that moment when Peter denies, Jesus looks at him. And each of them knows that this has happened. Each of them knows that the other is there. And yet Jesus is still merciful. The fifth point is that when Herod questions Jesus, it points to a historical reality of Jesus's passion and his death. The idea that we know that Herod lived in time helps us understand that this really happened. Finally, that story about the good thief, that's the only place we hear of it is in Luke's gospel. That dramatic episode comes to an end of the series of moments when Jesus is mocked by the soldiers, by the rulers in Jerusalem, and finally by the other criminal. And it leads up to the testimony of the good thief. The good thief stands at the end of a line of other great stories in Luke's gospel where mercy and repentance are the very hallmark. Peter and the forgiveness that was offered to Peter, the repentant woman, the prodigal son, Zacchaeus, they all experienced repentance. And finally, it culminates in the good thief at the cross. Luke's Passion account highlights the role of the disciples, and as a result of that, our role to be servants of mercy and forgiveness. And so this week, I invite you to take a few moments to read Luke's Passion narrative, but more important, use it as an opportunity to offer mercy and forgiveness to someone you know who might be carrying a cross.